I believe that you can go from an average to below average rider on the street to a much safer, much more skilled rider in just 30 days. It takes a plan and it takes some proper technique, and I want to give that to you today. I know earlier in my riding years I did something similar to this that we'll talk about today, and it made a drastic difference in my skills on a motorcycle, and as long as I occasionally freshen those skills, they stay with me today. It takes a little bit of dedication on your part, but it will make a drastic change in your control of a motorcycle and your safety out on the street. So let's do a little bit of housekeeping first and talk about some of the things that you may want to purchase in order to develop your skills and to make this journey easier. For this video, I'll be making several references to the Field Guide. The Field Guide is a book that I have written that's got the training exercises in it that you'll be working on during this time. So, I've got all of the exercises in here with coaching tips and techniques, problem resolution, all the stuff that you need. You can get that at mcrider.com/FGbook, and I'll forward you directly to the purchase page to buy a Field Guide if you would like. But for this 30-day exercise, you don't have to have the Field Guide. I've got previous videos on all the exercises that we'll talk about today. All of those videos are available for free, and I'll have a link that I'll tell you about in a little while where you can go to, and I'll have all of those videos there for you so that you can see the exercises and the proper technique. But having everything all in one place in a concisely written guide like the Field Guide is going to be a huge benefit for what we're going to talk about today. Next, if you've got training cones, you'll want to gather those up. If you don't have cones, I can highly recommend these. I bought these off of Amazon. You can get these at mcrider.com/cones. These are the 2-inch cones, and I really like these orange ones better than the green ones because these are a little easier to see out on the parking lot. And if you hit one of these out on the parking lot, it's just going to collapse under the wheel of your motorcycle, and it's going to be no problem. So they're a great training aid. But if money's tight and you've got some tennis balls laying around, a lot of riders will cut tennis balls in half, and you can use those out on a parking lot. You can also use just the painted lines on a parking lot. The Field Guide is designed using mostly the painted lines of parking spaces on a standard parking lot as a guide for either cone placement or the exercise itself, so that you could do that with minimal setup and having to purchase anything extra. Another valuable resource, if it's available to you, which it was whenever I was doing this years ago, is an empty MSF parking lot. So a range where they teach the MSF class, if you've got that available to you and you can get to it, rather quickly, that's a great resource because you can get out there when they're not having class and you can use their painted lines to run through a bunch of these exercises. Those MSF ranges are especially good for practicing U-turns and cornering exercises because they've already got the lines on the ground and everything marked out for you to practice with. So let's talk about how we're going to approach training over the next 30 days, and we'll talk about some specific exercises to work on. The MSF class is taught over 2 days, sometimes 3 days, depending on where you take it at. This has some pros and some cons, in my opinion. The biggest pro is it can be completed in a weekend. The biggest con is that's a whole lot of information crammed into one weekend. For a new rider, 2 solid days of riding and classroom time is a ton of new information, all cram-packed into one weekend. And foreign techniques are thrown at new riders in a short amount of time, and it's difficult for that rider to not only, comprehend all of that, but to internalize all of that training that's coming at them in a very short period of time, over that compressed 2-day period. In reality, a student can't maintain their attention span over that long of a time frame, and here's some shocking numbers that will explain it. In the year 2000, the average attention span was about 12 seconds long. It's pretty short on its own, but add 15 years to that, so by the year 2015, our attention span on average has dropped to 8.25 seconds. In part, it's due to our reliance on smartphones, and the way that we constantly picking those up has shortened our attention span, and that's knocked it down to 8.25 seconds. Scientists believe that a goldfish has an attention span of 9 seconds, So it might be easier to teach a goldfish to ride a motorcycle than some people that I know. Taking our shorter attention span into consideration, I'm going to recommend shorter, more frequent training sessions rather than longer marathon training sessions. As a minimum training schedule, my recommendation is to shoot for about 15 to 25 minutes per session and at least 3 days a week, and maybe one longer session of 30 to 45 minutes 1 day a week. So your training schedule may look like this: Monday, Wednesday, and Friday for a short dedicated skill session, and then an extended training session on Saturday where you tie everything back up together and you work on everything that you've worked on the week prior. So feel free to adjust this schedule, and if you can fit in other training sessions, that's what I did when I was doing this. I was out on the training range 4, sometimes 5 days a week on my lunch break working on these skills, and it made a huge difference for me. Also included in that, the longer training session, either on a Saturday or Sunday afternoon, tying everything together that I'd worked on the week before. I did my training sessions during my lunch break from work, and I was able to train just about every work day by cutting into my lunch break for about 15 minutes for a practice schedule. If practicing during your lunch break doesn't work for you, dedicate a few minutes after work to get your practice sessions in. You may hear this and think, I can't dedicate that much time to something like this. But remember, this is not for the rest of your life. You're only doing this for a period of 30 days. And I promise you, during that 30-day period, you're going to greatly increase your skills on a motorcycle. And then, 30, 45 minutes 1 day on the weekend is going to tie all of this in together and reinforce the skills that you've learned through the week. I can assure you it made a huge difference for me and my skill on a motorcycle. So what exercises should we work on? So you can see on the screen right now, I've got several exercises that are in the field guide, and I also have videos to those. If you go to mcrider.com/30 days, I've got a page laid out there with all of these exercises laid out, example training schedule for you to use, and links to all the videos that demonstrate this, or you can just purchase the field guide and have everything right there for you to take out to the range with you the next time you go. Since these training sessions are fairly short, you don't have a whole lot of time to waste when you get out on the practice range, but you should have enough time to do about 10 to 15 reps of each exercise. So over that 15 to 25 minute period, you're typically doing 3 exercises, and then on that longer session on Saturday, you're recapping everything that you've done through the week. Remember, 3 days a week for short sessions is the bare minimum. If you can get in 4 or 5 days a week and then 1 day on the weekend, it's going to help even more. Repetition with correct technique is the key, not the amount of time on the parking lot per session. The main thing you want to keep in mind when you're practicing is not how tight your U-turns are, or how short your stopping distance is, or any other measurable other than, did you perform the exercise using the correct technique? Because poor practice sessions lead to poor habits on the road, so technique is vitally important when you're practicing new skills. You'll find the correct techniques in the field guide and the videos listed at mcrider.com/30 days. So head over to mcrider.com/30 days and take a look at the training schedule. You'll find the proper technique in a video demonstrating the technique and the days listed out to set up a demo schedule for you, and then dedicate 30 days to see how much you can improve on your motorcycle. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. Leave a comment below and consider becoming a member of MC Rider. As a member, you'll get immediate access to the forums and the field guide that we've talked about in a digital format, and you'll be supporting my ability to make videos just like this that help the motorcycle community ride safer and better. Till next week, guys, it's Kevin with MC Rider, and I'll see you on the road. There's a whole lot more to MC Rider than just the weekly videos. Go to mcrider.com/member. You'll get instant access to the forums and the field guide. You get ad-free MC Rider videos and a whole lot more. Go to mcrider.com/member for all the details.